Today we're flying to Taipei. It's my first time there, and I don't really know what to expect. But I'm excited, and I've been really looking forward to this trip for a while now. The day started early, like before the sun up, kinda early. Airports at dawn are a different vibe though. They're quieter, and there's this weird mix of tired travelers and hopeful energy. After nearly missing my flight to Korea last year, and doing a half marathon sprint to the airport, we made sure to get to KLIA with plenty of time to spare. With some time to kill, we grabbed breakfast at Din Tai Fung. Yeah, I know it's a Taiwanese chain, but there's not much else to pick from, and without pork on the menu, it really wasn't the same. For your information, I got noodles, but I didn't bother filming it. Then came the delay. 2 hours on the ground. So what happened was an elderly lady wasn't feeling well, so we had to de-taxi from the runway, head back to the gate, wait for them to unload her luggage, and make sure that doctors saw her. I'm super glad that nothing too bad happened to her. I can't imagine being stuck on a 5-hour flight and having a medical emergency. Overall, there wasn't much stress about it. It was an early morning flight, so we weren't rushing to make any plans in Taiwan. Most of us just took the time to nap. Flying itself is kinda weird for me now. There was a time when I used to fly every single week for work, and I got used to it, like I was stepping onto a bus. But these days, every little bump in the air makes me feel uneasy, and I don't sleep much when we're flying. I just sit there, staring out the window, listening to music, getting lost in my own thoughts, or doing a bit of work. Finally, Taipei. We landed at Taoyuan International Airport, one of Taipei's two main airports. The other one, Songshan, is much closer to the city, but Taoyuan's the big hub for international flights. Right away, the design stood out to me. Even though Taoyuan was built in the 70s, it doesn't feel dated at all. Everything felt clean, intentional, and surprisingly modern. There's a lot of glass everywhere, letting natural light pour in, which gives the whole place this warm and open feeling. And then there's my favorite thing. There's this roof. This slanted glass design with the angled slats. It's super interesting, and it gives the space a unique character. When the sunlight hits just right, the whole terminal looks almost cinematic. That's something I noticed about Taiwan as a whole. The light here is just different. Okay, so first thing we had to do, food. After 10 hours of travel, we were starving, and excuse my pronunciation, but we went to this restaurant called Xiao Wang Zhu Gua in Huaxin Night Market. This place has been around since 1975 and has even made the Michelin Guide, which is always a good sign. Their specialty is lu rou fan, a classic Taiwanese dish of braised pork served over rice. The pork here is cooked in a broth that's constantly simmering, like a never-ending stew that gets better with time. And it's not a big dish. It's small and simple, but so flavorful. We even ordered a few side dishes, some stir-fried cabbage, tofu, and a little bit more pork. The food looks heavy at first glance, but the balance of flavors is so good that it feels light. Maybe a bit too much oil for me, but the flavors were insane. Salty, sweet, and perfectly balanced. The restaurant itself didn't feel touristy at all. It had this like home-cooked, no-fuss vibe. There were a lot of locals sitting down for their usual dinner, and it was nice to be a part of that. One of the best things about Taipei is how walkable it is. The city's flat, easy to navigate, and that night, the weather was perfect. I think it was like 20 degrees. Walking lets you take in the city in a way that cars or taxis don't. You hear the hum of scooters, you notice the glow of shop fronts, and you catch glimpses of life happening on the sidewalk. I've never been great at night photography, but Taipei really makes me want to try. The colors at night feels so unique. Soft greens, yellows, and reds, contrasting to the dark backgrounds and shadows that you see. We ended the night in Ximending. It's Taipei's version of Myeongdong in Seoul. It's a lively shopping area filled with bright lights, street food, and people everywhere. I tried stinky tofu here for the first time. It's one of those foods you hear about a lot, and honestly, it wasn't as bad as I expected. The smell is strong, but the flavor is surprisingly delicious, and it tastes amazing when you have it with the chili sauce and pickled vegetables.
It's not as bad as I thought it would be. Is it normal to have it with the chili?
Yes, but you can opt out. And then you check on the chili.
Okay, on the chili.
Pick it up.
No, it's okay. It adds flavor. It gets smellier.
You think it's getting smellier? This can be smellier.
You can get ones that are way worse.
But this is one of the crunchier ones I have.
This is not normally.
It's not normally this.
Is it not
crunchy.
normally crunchy?
It's normally crunchy, but I don't know. Not that crunchy.
Yeah. I really enjoyed the crunch.
We also had the oyster omelette, or jian. It reminded me of the Penang style omelets you get at home, but this one was a bit different. It was heavy on the flour, and the oysters were there, but you couldn't really notice them. Personally, I prefer the ones in Malaysia, but that might just be me. So that was day one in Taipei. A long flight, great food, and a slow walk through the city I'm just starting to explore. There's already something about Taipei that feels special. Maybe it's the light, maybe it's the food, or maybe it's just the feeling of stepping into somewhere new for the first time. Okay, so yeah, that was all I had for today. Thanks for watching. Tune in for the next one.